Hello and welcome, I'm Pheasant, and today I'm going to be doing another zero difficulty days run. This is the second in a series. I'd recommend watching them in order because the first one actually ended up being a pretty good explanation of a kind of Dahan focused kind of way of winning with days, and this next one's going to be, I don't know what it is. Because what happened just now is I just recorded a whole video and I forgot to press record. Um, a hilarious error. So this is actually the end of that last game. And I basically spent the whole game building towards Inspire the release of Stolen Lands, which is a pretty odd way to finish. And it's a shame that that game has now lost the time, I think. So yeah, we'll just finish this one out. And I had the problem with this game where I basically I didn't generate a single fear card all game. So despite the fact there's nothing on the board, we had to rely on this Ravage at the end to get the win. So at least I could honour this game a little bit in that way. But that is one of the ways that you could win with days, is by looking at your major powers and going, okay, I'm going to build to that one. Okay, so let's do it again. If in doubt, always pick C. I'm not sure why I always pick C, but I do. So we're on difficulty 0. Let's see what the days have for us. Ooh, I've not clicked that before they've done this business before. Okay, that's altogether too fast. So what have we got? We have some pretty friendly cards in terms of elements here. In fact, all the cards have at least one of our elements. We don't have any perfect element minor powers, but we do have my favorite minor power in the game. And I actually did record another playthrough with Dire Metamorphosis, but I made far too many errors and I didn't think it would really work as a introductory video. So, it's good to make a few errors, keep people on their toes, but there's a limit. Okay, so we don't have defend, so that whole thing we did in the first game, that's not happening. We do have fragments, which is potentially a good finisher if we are pushing. Do we have pushing? I guess we could push a little bit with call, so we could push a load of invaders into one land and then slap it with this. It should be pretty easy to threshold for us, to get both thresholds even. Jungle Hungers is a really nice. So this I think goes well with kind of getting an early major power and just kind of hammering it out. It has Moon on, which means it's easier for us to make fast. What's the board like? So we've got jungle access to everything except this land here. So that's got some potential. Can we threshold it itself? Not with the current cards we have. This is a cool card. It's a bit expensive, I think, for us to be playing a lot. Also, though, we could just kind of slip it in and let it clear a land. We could just play it on this city and let it clear it at some point. Seems horrendously inefficient. Let's just gain our time so that we see what the explorers. Okay, so we've got sand and sand. Okay, let's go back to looking at our days. So this is very viable with just letting it go. I'd say this is... What do we have? So... Unrelenting Growth is great for me. Any other spirit playing this turn 1 would be absolutely ecstatic. For this spirit, I would say not so much. Not so much. But if you could play on a teammate, now you're cooking. But in solo, yeah, not so much. Okay. This is also very powerful, potentially very easy for us to make fast. I think we won't really get to use this bottom bit here with the removing an invader from lands with 4 or more invaders, simply because the difficulty is just not high enough. In that game that I forgot to record, we had the problem of not really generating fear, and we also like to have that problem unless we were to maybe lean something like this. This is a very nice way of getting some fear, and it's quite easy to make fast because of the elements on it. I am not sure how I want to take this, and I wonder whether I might actually just want to look at some new cards with a moon turn instead of trying to make something happen with these. We don't have... If we had a Blight Mage, I'd be really tempted just to grab Dire and start putting Blight out and putting out some friends. But we don't have that. I mean, just gaining 3 fear is, you know, it's alright. We could do that turn 1. It's also very nice to bring out of the discard pile. Any 0 cost is like that. Call to Isolation, though, is just a fantastic card. We can use it turn 1 to prevent this build. And I think that's probably actually just the combo of it being Sun, Air, and just addressing that land, I think means it's just the right turn 1 move. Maybe we'll go turn 2 Moon. With the assumption that we're just going to let this go, or maybe stasis it. And this Sun Air element is really nice because it means that we don't necessarily need to use stasis just for elements, which is a thing we probably would be doing otherwise. So we'll have a Sun turn. We will gain Call to Isolation. And we will just gain a bunch of time. We'll get that 2 energy, and we'll gain the rest from the next track. So we do have a presence move. I think maybe we want a moon turn next turn potentially, because I feel like we're a bit. I don't see an obvious strategy out of these. We do have lots of nice stuff that's on element, but there's no clear path. I mean, maybe squeezing this in quickly is an option. Yeah, so let's relocate this presence so that we are able to target the whole island. And I think this jungle is actually the only place that really there's obviously we're letting this coastal sands go, so we don't want to put our presence in there because we're not typically placing a lot of presence. And oops, no, goes there, and we'll push this explorer. Now, question is where? We do have the easy ability to clean up the coast. So I think I will just push towards the coast. Okay, let's not overthink that. Okay, so we have wetland explorers. And yeah, we do not have defense. This obviously is a nice kind of ready-made counterattack. And call is... it's nice to have call. Very nice. So, I think we need to go looking for... Are we looking for... We could even look at a major and go kind of that way around. So we could... Ooh, tricky. I need to drink some water. when you repeatedly mess up your videos.
You too.
Okay. So we've actually got quite a lot of energy. We could be just grabbing and playing a major this turn. And we've also got the backup plan of just letting this go. Yeah, let's grab a major. We've got... I feel like we could make this work. Feels like there is just a way here. I guess we don't really have like a damage major to kind of combo with flames. Yeah, we can't be destroying our own presence. Yeah, let's grab a major. Let's see what we get. Ooh, oh wow, okay, interesting. Okay, so we've already got Sun, Air. Oh, crucially, Sun, Air, Animal. Is it time for Insatiable Hunger of the Swarm to show its quality? it's always time for insatiable hunger in the swarm. How much other animal have we got in here? We've got just the one other one. Yeah, so we're not going to threshold this anytime soon. What about talons? I think talons is the kind of card where if we can threshold it early, we've just kind of won. Especially at difficulty 0. We need animal. Not going to even consider air because we've got plenty of that. We don't have any plant animal cards on offer. The nice thing here is insatiable means we clear this city. I mean, we will be blighting it, but that's fine. It's going to cost us all of our energy, though. We don't have. Do we have? And we do have dire as well, in case there's not enough blight on the island. Would mean more beasts potentially. Yeah, let's go insatiable, and we'll forget poor time because that's what it's for. Now we've already got a beast power, so we could get this as an additional beast power because we will be adding beasts. Okay, so we need a sacred site to target here. So we'll do that. And do we want to play multiple cards this turn? I actually don't think we do. So with that being true, so it's a moon turn. What have we got here? We've got call. We could prevent this build as well if we grab this from the discard pile. The trouble with moon turns is that unless you use a whole time to get extra plays, you're not able to get this 3 sun 2 air effect. That's the trouble with moon turns. So I really don't like spending a whole time to get extra plays. Just don't like it. If I was, I could go up to 4 plays, but then I'm kind of broke for energy. And I don't have a way of choosing extra energy. So I think I'll make the sacred site with that one there. And I think I am not getting plays because I'm using insatiable hunger of the swarm. So I'll grab. Yeah. So we are not spending much time, which is fine. Yeah, I think this is fine. No point playing this on its own. So we will do this. Take that. Take that. Well, I won't be destroying any buildings. That's just fine. And we have a disease? Yeah, sure. And I'm not in with Dahan. That's a little bit of an oversight. I should be in with Dahan if I can be. Strife and land with Dahan. I guess this is ravaging soonest. Okay. Interesting. So we can't threshold our flocking red talons, which is a shame because this is really nice against towns when you can. But we can use it to address this land, but that's spending a lot of effort to just do something we can address with stasis. We don't have a defend card critically. Let's double check. Yeah, we don't have a defend. I mean, I could be looking hard for defends. I mean, that is a thing I could be doing. There's also this ravage here. Or maybe what I could be doing is using a kind of using my flocking red talons to potentially set up a land with everything in and then just send the locusts in. It's a funny little setup. It just seems it's just annoying to me that I'd have this perfect Dahan counterattack and not use it. However, it is going to cascade, and we don't really want to blight the island any more than we already will be with our lovely locusts. And they are lovely locusts. Don't care what you say. Yeah, and we really don't want to lose presence either. Yeah, far from ideal. So it's a bit of an expensive strategy. But I think preserving our presence is very worthwhile. And I think we can just tolerate the cascade and the messy counter. I know that's going to make some of you cry. Don't cry. It'll be okay. So... where have you gone, birds? There you are. There you are. The other nice thing about the birds is they're quite cheap. What do we forget here? It's tempting to forget stasis. We've already got something that replaces stasis's elements. So I'm forgetting stasis. Bold. It's a bold time to be a pheasant, and we'll gain energy. Okay, we have 3 plays. And here is an example of where the sun turn has kind of made something happen where it wouldn't otherwise. We've actually got slip here, so we can grab. We can't actually grab it. We can't afford to play it, but we could grab, call, and use that to address this land. That makes sense. Let's do something that makes sense, shall we? Not something that's absolute bobbins. Absolute bobbins. So we'll slip, grab, call, play, call. And now here's something interesting as well, is that we might be able to reclaim one of the original cards and play it again. Like we could maybe double up on blocking if we had the energy. We don't have the energy. Cool your jets, pheasant. Okay, so we'll push. Just we'll push these to here. Yeah, and then we'll flock in here. So I can gather these in. And we can push into here. So we're just stacking them up high now. Annoyingly, I think there's only... Do they only gather 1? No, they gather 2. So we will get to use a big pile in here. There will be a town in here after the build. So maybe what I'll do is I'll set up for a pretty messy counterattack in here. Oh, that's an interesting wrinkle. If I was to play slip here, I actually could blur an additional time. It's completely academic though. So we want to set up a very big messy counter in here. And we'll spend the time to repeat. And once you're this far up the time tracks, you do want to spend it when you can. So this means that they build a town, 2 Dahan die, but then the remaining 3 Dahan clear the land. And so there should just be a town in here. We might run into the not generating any fear problem. You also have an opportunity here to use past returns. Though I'd say that a Sand Explorer isn't particularly valuable. We want all the energy we can get, really. So I've also just realised a slight nuance. Let's call it a nuance. It's a little bit grandiose. But what I am going to do is I'm going to only push 3 into here. Because if I push 1 into here, I can push the town into here next turn with call. Okay. In fact, I could just prevent the build now with Call. Is that better or worse? I'm not sure. Answers on a postcard. Yeah, genuinely not sure. Feels like it's reasonable to do it now. Let's just do it now. Because one repeat isn't really costing us anything. We could of course prevent this if we had range. I've just denied myself range to that land. How wonderful. So we'll push this explorer into this horrible land. But yeah, the slip that costs 2 is very... It's yeah, you don't really want to do that unless you're literally finishing. Exploring the land with the fewest total invaders or Dahans. No source required. How dare you? Yeah, we'll just put it on the coast, I suppose. And more disease in there. Okay. Okay. So, slow phase, we can look at the event. And we're still actually 7 fear away from the next terror level. So, maybe I've made a bit of a poor calculation with Insatiable, but this should generate a good amount of fear. So, let's have a look at the event deck. Now, we won't get to bin this one if we don't want it. Oh, Beast generating fear. Yes, definitely want to keep that. As long as they're with invaders, but will they be with invaders? Okay, so we are in an air turn now. So because we've kind of planned our lives a little bit, we are able to get up to 3 plays. Though that said, that might have been a bit hasty. Do I want to do any of this stuff? I feel like killing this turn is really beneficial. Because that means... Oh, they're building here, though. So we could... Yeah, this call to isolation has been MVP, really. We can push this out and we can kind of splat this land. Is it actually going to generate enough? It's going to add 2 and gather 2, so it's going to be 4 in there. And they're going to do 8 damage. So yeah, that will be enough to clear that. And we'll just have these things left. Pass returns again is not going to do anything for us. So we won't play it. Yeah, but again, we're leaving ourselves in funky territory for elements, but the fact that we have the option of taking a sun turn means that we can make these elements work, because that 3 sun granted by the sun turn makes it possible to kind of do shenanigans. So that's what I'll be aiming to do. I am not sure exactly what I am going to be doing, but that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, glad we're all clear on that. I'm actually not going to kill everything here, which is a little bit annoying, but it will mean I'm open to generating the fear from the event that is either this turn or next turn. And crucially, we have cleared the buildings. Okay, so we got a different beast event, and that's fine. So they're going to clear this, which means I don't get the fear next turn because there's no animals there. We'll add another Dahan into this messy counter, I think. Though actually it is overkill. Wait. Oh yeah. We do have 2 fear cards. These Dahan might survive. Each player moves 2 explorers or a town from land with Dahan. Okay. Oh, there you go. So that's kind of a much messier approach to a run. And I remembered to press the record button. Yeah, so that was more like doing beast things, I guess. The difficulty 0 thing does mean that although the game is mercifully short, you're not really getting to see the spirit really being tested. But hey ho, do you want to see some details? Wow. Yeah, I mean the clear MVP. I did go on this in this screen very often. I'm just trying to find where do I see what I've got. I mean, I think the MVP was Call to Isolation. It enabled all sorts of shenanigans, but it's such a low key way. But the actual effect did a lot for us as well. And then just kind of having lots of beasts was nice. And the fact that this actually was generating some fear too meant that it kind of all came together fairly nicely. So this one was more like there's a major, you kind of use the major early because that's something you can do, and you synergize a little bit with it. We didn't get any defends there, so we weren't really doing any of the stuff we did in the first game. So yeah, that's the second one. There was actually another lost recording where I just made too many errors and miscalculations that I was like, nah, I'm not. It's fine. It's fine for a long, high difficulty video, but for a video where I'm trying to explain the game, it's no good. But blight everywhere, hilarious. But that doesn't exist, so I'm sorry. Anyway, if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.